From a design standpoint, the R-Type 3 Dimension serves as a modern reinterpretation of the '93 SNES classic R-Type 3, The Third Light, rebuilding the experience with contemporary visuals, yet that stays faithful to the original's game's identity. The defining features of Dimension series is instant visual transformation system. With a single button press, you can switch seamlessly between two different presentations at any point during gameplay. The original pixel art, which is 2D graphics, and the completely remastered 3D version that features redesigned environments, enhanced lighting effects, and cinematic camera work. Like the original R-Type 3, the game allows players to select from three force variants, which is standard, shadow, and cyclone forces, respectively, before going on with your playthrough. Each force grants access to unique, configurations, creating a total of 9 different loadout possibilities. It just basically encourages me just to try the experiments, see which one is better for the experience before playing on each stage. The result is notoriously challenging, which I agree on. It's almost puzzle-like shoot-'em-up experience that the rewards mastery and careful planning. And for me, who prefers more forgiving experience, the game also includes an infinite mode. This is good to learn the game, if you haven't played the original in so long. But the infinite mode is a better way to learn before you go on to the challenging classic mode. This offers infinite respawns, reduces the frustration, with repeated failures. This is definitely good for anybody that's just starting out. I say play the infinite mode first before going on to the challenging classic mode. The setting takes place in the distant future where humanity faces extinction at the hands of the Bido, a terrifying biomechanic species born from a failed human weapons experiment. For once was created as a tool for war, has evolved into an unstoppable force, capable of infecting, transforming, and consuming everything in its path. With the Bado launching a renewed assault from beyond the conventional space, Earth's defenses are pushed to their limits. So in response, the Earth Space Corps deploys the most advanced fighter, the R-90 Ragnarok. As its pilot, you embark on high-risk missions through the unstoppable dimension regions to strike at the Bido's command structure and eliminate the source of the threat before humanity is wiped out. R-Type 3 is still one of the best and hardest side-scroll shoot-'em-ups ever made. The 16-bit shooter has been over the moon since its announcement of the third game. A total 3D rebuild of the legendary SNES Shmup, simply put it across. This game simply gives you the original game with the all-new 3D exterior that we instantly can swap back and forth, from 2D sprites down to the 3D version. And yes, you can see the technical side of this game, that how it manages this transition, in which can it be pulled up with modern and 16-bit gap? Just starting with a good R-Type Dimensions 3 is nothing short of a technical and visual marvel to look at. It can completely be sensational in some areas while taking in the 16-bit sprites, giving a full modern 3D redesign on top of them, which breathes life into this flat 2D gameplay plane. And the developers at Tall Plan have pushed this biomechanical horror of the Bido into a new HD high-tech era. Alien environments are wet and organic and feel deeply disturbing, with the unique visual design that comes into play nicely in areas like heavy metal corridors from Stage 3, transforming into the busy but flat stage design with spinning tubes that form a disorienting labyrinth to look into. Particles are loud and bright, even with the cyclone forest pod, giving the fantastic shimmering and unstable ball design that wiggles around with the disorienting image of energy flaking off as it travels through the screen. Most importantly is the classic R-Type Dimension series staple, instantly swapping between the modern 3D graphics and its classic, pixel SNES pixel art has returned with no loading time whatsoever. And watching the screen wipe between 1993 and 2026 at a touch of a button. It never gets old after that. But it's brilliant gimmick that remains impressive, throughout my gameplay. However, performance is absolutely crucial as the input, based in the game as arcade shoot-'em-ups or shmup. This is where R-Type Dimensions 3 finds itself in extremely stormy waters. While I'm reviewing this on the Series X, that the title runs flawlessly, it maintains a great 60 frames per second of the way through the game. But for me, it falls off the cliff after stage 1, when the stage gets busy with enemies and objects to dodge. But after the mid stages, the frame rate frequently drops and starts chugging, which is not good, turning the game into an unbearable, slow, jittery nightmare, to behold when dodging bullets. in an input insensitive game. The good news is, like, changing back to the 2D mode immediately solves this lag and brings back to the perfectly smooth frame rate, but completely nullifies that you need to buy a 3D version of the original. So basically, if it ever slows down, hey, just play the 2D version instead. R-Type Dimensions 3 is a ruthless, difficult side-scroll shooter where we as the player pilot the R90 Ragnarok through sprawling levels of biomechanical opponents. The fundamental gameplay element here is the Force Pod, a bullet-absorbing orange robot that's integral to the R90's success and survival. I can either attach the Force Pod to the front or in the back of the ship, thus absorbing bullets, in front and from behind, so whenever it needed. In other modes, like the Force Pod can be launched into the screen and will fire, automatically just to clear paths on the screen at the same time. The levels, unlike their counterparts, requires extreme sharp memorization, and as the environment revolves around tunnels, walls, I have to deal with this, with the constant enemies. But just like its predecessor in the arcade, there are 3 different force pods at the beginning of the run, which is Standard, Shadow, and Cyclone. These will, redefine your weaponry, so choose one of them wisely to see what's best for your experience. But once fired, I can hold down the fire button, and that would just eventually just cause a mega wave cannon just to fire out a force pod, because you could do the rapid fire, or you can hold down a charge shot, just let out a powerful shot. The trade-off is the master power shot, which is unable to shoot anything while the mega wave cannon is firing. One thing that makes the installment of R-Type special is the ability to switch between 16-bit or the 2D to its modern 3D version, just for the press of a button. The 3D engine now features a dramatic new perspective view and crazy camera perspective. This view is angled, cinematized, and just gives you a whole new feel of the game experience. This new game also introduces an infinite mode, which I mentioned before in the presentation. Yeah, you just basically got unlimited lives and you can just go through it, so that way you can easily learn the game. So anybody new to the series, I definitely recommend choosing this mode. That way you can learn it. Now for the veterans on there, they're going to go for the classic mode just for that challenge. But therefore, it feels less old school, and the overall this game is difficult but engaging. A puzzle shooter where players are rewarded for managing their weapon usage. When it comes to the visual and technical package of R-Type Dimensions 3, I found its biggest strength, frequently doubles as its most frustrating flaw. The 4K presentation is stunning on modern, lighting effects, looks spectacular. The sheer amount of visual clutter severely damages the hyper-exact precision required by the core gameplay. In the new 3D mode, layered backgrounds, dynamic shadows, and heavy particle explosions constantly obscured upcoming enemy bullets. The metal deception, made it incredibly difficult for me to accurately judge my ship's hitboxes against the changing environment. I mean, trust me, your ship is a big hitbox. It's easy to get eliminated. To make matters worse, the performance on the Nintendo hardware is highly unstable, but when you're on the first stage, it ran beautiful for me, but the frame rate completely fell off the cliff once you turn into a stuttering mess, during the heavy action in the later levels. This is in the 3D version, but ultimately, while I love the ability to hot swap between eras, the frame drops over-designed the 3D geometry forced me to switch back to the 2D version for more often, because I want to avoid the cheap deaths. Ultimately, this game is a gorgeous but technically flawed package. While its dated 4K presentation, brilliant lighting effects, and instant 2D to 3D hot swapping are technically impressive, the visual clutter severely damages the precision of the core gameplay. Combined with the unacceptable frame rate drops when the screen gets cluttered, its lighting doesn't strike quite land with the impact that I hoped for. It looks great in the trailer, but purists like myself, find me hitting that 2D button more often than developers intended. I say, yeah, I mean, like I stated earlier, it's just the game is good, but it's best just to play this game in this 2D format more than this 3D version. But for that, I give R-Type Dimensions 3 a 3 out of 5. Thank you for tuning in to the best place for independent gaming journalism, and that is the Gamer section. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and turn that bell on for notifications.